So today we'll be in Pauillac, perhaps the world's most famous winemaking village. So home to 3 of the first growths, 1,200 hectares of vines, where Cabernet Sauvignon is king, growing on the banks of the River Gironde in thick, deep gravel banks. So the wines produced from this region tend to be very majestic. They have aromas of blackcurrant, cedarwood, black cherries. They age incredibly gracefully for a long, long time. They develop into complex wines with truffly, dark, leathery, smoky kind of characteristics to them. Real connoisseur's wine. So we're here at Château Latour Rothschild, a first growth, one of 3 first growths found within the commune of Pauillac. It's a 100-hectare property. It's the largest of all the first growths, and it really goes to show some of the genius in Bordeaux. So that a property this big, for its Grand Vin, its top wine, it can produce 15,000 cases of the most amazing, sublime, complex and refined red wine in the world. We're here in the absolutely magnificent terroir of Château Latour Rothschild, looking at some of these soils. So, as we can see with these stones, this incredible gravel, which is a byproduct of this glacial movement as the huge glaciers retreated from Europe out into the Atlantic Ocean, carving that huge Gironde estuary and dropping this kind of material. This kind of material for Cabernet Sauvignon is absolutely perfect. So thick gravel like this drains extremely well. It retains heat, it heats up during the day and keeps the vineyards warm at night. So absolutely key essential ingredient to the quality of the Cabernet Sauvignon produced in the Medoc. So here we are at Chateau Mouton Rothschild, a first growth, a 75-hectare property, the blend of the grapes being 80% Cabernet Sauvignon, 10% Cabernet Franc, 8% Merlot with a touch of Petit Verdot on top of that. So historically a very significant chateau. In 1855, the wines of Bordeaux were classified into different ranks, to first growth, second growth, third, fourth and fifth growths. And they were classified really depending on, at the time, what the wine merchants in the region were selling the wines for, how much the prices that they were charging for the wines. And that really gave a good indication of quality. So the 1855, it still kind of stands pretty much today. Not everything is totally accurate, but pretty much it's a very good indication of the best wines in Bordeaux. So quite a significant historical chateau, as it was one of the only chateaus to ever be elevated in its ranking in the 1855 classification. And in 1972, it was elevated from a second growth up to a first growth. Also, one of the very significant points about this chateau is when Baron Philippe de Rothschild came down and started running the estate in the 20s, one of the first things that he did was he changed the label. He changed the label to Jean Carlu, a very famous artist, and for the next few years he did a very much sort of a ram's head, the Mouton motif on the labels for the wine. And since then, he's had a whole string of very, very famous artists, from Pablo Picasso to Kandinsky, and even John Huston, the famous film director, have all designed labels from Chateau Mouton Rothschild. That really started from 1945 onwards, and every year since, a famous artist has made the label. At Château Latour, a first growth, the 3rd first growth that we've been visiting within the commune of Pauillac. So a 78-hectare estate, the blend of the wine usually comprising about 75% Cabernet Sauvignon, 20% Merlot, and then just a touch of Cabernet Franc and Petit Verdot. Very best vineyards and where you get the best wine and the best grapes come from this central area, all around the new winemaking and barrel shays behind me, all in the central area, a vineyard that they call L'Enclos, so the very heart of Château Latour. Behind me we can see the dovecot, which was built in the 1650s. The original tower, the original Latour, was destroyed in the 100 Years' War in the 1450s, and the dovecot here is often mistaken for the actual tower itself. But one of the most amazing things about Château Latour is really its location. It's very, very close. A couple of 100 meters away is the banks of the River Gironde, and we're on a raised level a few meters above the Gironde, perfect for frosty air to drop away from these vineyards and to land onto the top of the river and to be carried away by the moving water. And then really the depth of the gravel soils here. So 100 meters of pure, thick, big gravels looking something like this. This is where the real magic happens at Château Latour, in this soil. Have a look at that gravel. I mean, this is just like a shingle beach. Look at the thickness of that gravel. And we're standing on about 100 meters worth of this gravel, and this provides the most amazing drainage. And that's perfect for Cabernet Sauvignon, because if there's one thing Cabernet Sauvignon really doesn't like, is to have its roots in a lot of water. So as soon as it rains here, it drains straight through. Also, these stones warm up during the day, and they keep the vineyards nice and warm at night. And when you've got a late ripening variety like Cabernet Sauvignon, it's just that heat retention and the warmth in the vineyards that take you over into the autumns and really push you onto the next level of quality in this style of grape. Located on the left bank of the River Gironde, with Saint-Estèphe to the north and Saint-Julien to the south, there are 1,200 hectares of vines, producing on average 600,000 cases of wine. This area contains 18 chateaux that were included in the classification of 1855. And generally, the wines tend to be quite solid, quite masculine, but very refined and elegant, with beautiful aromas of cedarwood and blackcurrant. A wonderful food combination would be to try these wines with the classic gigot of Saltmarsh Pauillac lamb. And historically, the vintages to look for Pauillac wines are 1945, 61, 82 and 90. More recently, the vintages of 2000, 2005 and 2010 have made incredibly good wines.